A very warm welcome. Yes, I'm your host, Yildiz from Yildiz Readings. We are going to quickly hop in to the must-knows. That is, our disclaimers are hosted directly below. And make sure that when you're viewing content online, we're here to support you as well as other support systems that are available online. And some of the tips are on screen. Definitely, if you are feeling a little bit triggered, take 5, know your support system. Save it in a folder, come back to it. Really care for your wellness. That's our top priority. Let's get into the update. I can tell you Divine Masculine's read was very interesting, so no doubt yours is going to be too. Divine Feminine. I was actually not surprised by seeing these cards. The first card we have, which just oozes the energy of what is going on, especially in the ascension path. There are points, which is the whole reason I wanted to get the education content done online, especially from my own personal experience as a twin. There were times where I went into huge questioning. There were times when I was very, very 3D. And we, particularly in this year, are in a transitional year. We're mixing two things. It is very much almost like we're in two worlds, but we can timeline jump as well. Your crowning energy really does signify to me, you could directly be questioning, well, does this energy, like, why am I on this path? Where is this path? What am I supposed to be doing? What you want wants you. So if you did have a question this week and it was, hey, what am I actually doing here? Does this person even, want to be with me? Do my hopes and dreams and aspirations, are they in my own personal life? From my ascension point, am I on the right path here? You are going through a portal and it is this brand new chapter. I do see from your overall energy, you are going through a massive transition. And I don't necessarily feel it's just this week. However, for a pocket group, it could be that you are transitioning through your frequency and trying to work out. And this is quite a dynamic month where we are, over the next 2 months, going to be going through some very interesting transitions and integrating those frequencies where they are going to set us up for the next 14, 7 and 20 odd years, if not decades. So trust the process. A lot of you were incarnated around this time for this. Some of you also can link back to 2017 for some sense of reference, and we are coming full circle. I see in the past position here, you are really getting serious, and there are some things, especially to do with the past, where you are really feeling as though spiritually, and for a lot of you, you might find that it's almost like you can't muck up, you're really cursed if you do. And it can be a perspective we directly have in the past. You're wanting things to be the right way, but this also can be a time in which we can experience our perspective and require the same from others, the benchmark. Something is going to the past, and you might be looking at life differently as you do move through this. Because in the heart space, you do have this, you've got this stress, you've got this worry. The card in the upright says no need to fear, and it is to do with your own personal power. Remember how powerful you are. So in the heart, it could be that you are clearing some heart chakra. It might be that you get worried when you're around this person or connected to this situation, that you maybe were not respected and loved in the way that you felt that you were deserving of. It also can be that you are very concerned about, what your passions are, what your desires are, and if this path is aligned for you. And I think if you are in that space, it's very important not to curse yourself for being in that space, but actually to take 5 and say, okay, well, I'm going to sit with this, be it is a completely unrelated at this point in time to your twin flame path. It could also be something very personal that you're about to decide upon, and you just don't know quite yet if you're ready to, or if it's in alignment. You are very curious, and it's saying dig into that. Sometimes we can turn trash into treasure. So it could be in that heart chakra space, in that Jupiter energy, you are really looking at your life and saying, I do want to understand other people's perspectives. I do want to understand where I'm going. I do want to know what I'm going to do. And there could be a moment where you don't directly believe at this point in time. Throat chakra. Okay. Okay, there is movement and there is things where you are going to go the distance where things are. It could be that we're making a mountain out of a molehill. But again, whatever you are getting to the root cause of, I really highly recommend if you've got any confusion, there could be some clarity in Divine Masculine's read. You guys are the yin to the yang of each other. And I especially from channeling those messages, it did feel as though they also felt very frustrated that a lot feels like we're going backwards, we're not going forwards, but we're doing both simultaneously. And it's just very challenging in the mix of it. You are moving into this rebirth in your divine feminine energy. And this is like a new rebirth for you. Self-love also can come in the context of sometimes having to make hard decisions. And that can really make us feel quite perplexed because we're like, well, if I'm choosing myself, does that mean I can't have everything else? When we remain in that alignment, what we do tend to find is we attract individuals into our world in that same alignment, but it's maintaining that space. That doesn't mean to say that we need to be perfect at all times, but it can be something that really anchors us in and helps us in a very peaceful, safe space to be ourselves, to be gentle on ourselves, and to, dictate every day, okay, what is going to be correct for me today, and be okay with changing your mind if that transition comes through. Because what can happen is while you're growing to have all that understanding that you really deserve from other people, you're starting to embody that towards yourself. And accidentally so, you then inadvertently start attracting that vibration back from other people. Now, your outcome energy. Now it is hard, it's almost like for some of you, it could be, gosh, you don't want to go on where angels spare to tread. And you might, again, some of us are getting too far ahead of ourselves. Some of us have so many questions and are so concerned that, it's almost like if you picture the context of that connection being back in your life, or if you currently are in communication, there could be some things that you're going through this week in the mix that are making you a little bit concerned. And it's okay to have a recheck in with yourself and say, is this situation circumstance and alignment? What do we jointly and individually need to do? What part's my part? What part's theirs? I also feel for some of you, it could be that you need to use some crystals. Depending on where you are in the journey, you do tend to find the further into the journey you get, the crystals will not work. Generally because you have cleared enough energy, very similar to when you're having a crystal and it breaks on you, it's actually directly served its purpose. So it's not to say that crystals don't have their place, they definitely do, and I definitely use them, but you do tend to find when you do get to a particular space in it, because you've already alchemized that frequency and understanding, you not necessarily need that protection. Sometimes it might be a bit of a recharge energy here and there. But generally speaking, once you've moved that vibration, you're in a better space and you won't need it. For some of you, it could be that you are actually needing the sacral chakra and solar plexus balanced out a bit. You could feel almost like, and again, this isn't legal advice or medical, it feels more the context of, and the best analogy I could give is like when you've got an adrenal, you just like your adrenaline's stopped, you just don't have much to give. I get that. So if you are feeling unmotivated or nervous, anxious, I also see for some of you a lot of psychic energy coming in. And this can be almost where what you're seeing in the 3D, in your astro space, I see a lot of you actually sensing some huge transitions, and you might not quite be understanding it right away. Sit with it for a little bit. I feel your guides and even interconnecting with your TF, you could be getting some messages. I feel they're going to be pretty key for you this week. So being open to it is going to be key. Also being grounded enough so that you can receive the messages. Otherwise, you may misinterpret them. Now, if you do want a personal booking, you can come through and book one online. We do have all the links directly below, as well as for our membership. We do have a new membership, which the first round was open already. We have had our YouTube members transition over to our new Mighty Network, and the next edition is going to be coming out, and that is via the email list. And that link is directly below if you do want to get onto the Sage Inner Circle network. We will have a bit of an intro about it later. We don't have it ready as yet, but if you do want to go through and see Divine Masculines read, jump through, take a look, and yes, we'll also have the karmic up very shortly. Take care, and I'll see you next week.